And here's Mulder, and he's the guy, the A's one of them on, going on 3 days of rest. So we'll see with Mulder. He's got a wide variety of pitches.
Strike three call.
Beautiful splitter right there.
Mulder takes it for his strike.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Playin Thru. We're sitting here with Mark Mulder. As an Oakland A's fan, this is an awesome opportunity for me. Been following you for quite a while, not just your baseball career, but your golf career. We're here at the ACC in Tahoe, where you're also a former champion. And we're also here with Travis Mathew. I know you're an ambassador for Travis Mathew. They partnered with us as well, so we're extremely grateful for that opportunity. So first of all, thanks for sitting down with us.
Yeah, you got it.
Appreciate that. One of the things I first want to get into is looking back on your career, especially in the early 2000s, being a part of that big three, you, Zito, and Huddy. What was that like? And then with that, you know, the pressure to perform and be a part of that rotation.
Well, you know, Huddy got called up first, the end of '99. Him and I were in AAA together. He started in AA. I started in AAA. He gets called up because he was dominating AA. Comes up, deals in AAA. They call him up within a few starts, you know. So he goes up to the big leagues, does awesome the last few months of the season. And then the next season, I start, I'm there. Zito gets called up probably halfway through, I think, 2000. So that's kind of when, you know, and I struggled my rookie year. I struggled because I couldn't really command, I didn't pitch inside very well. It was as simple as that. And I want to say I was probably a little immature. I didn't have my routine down. I didn't have, here's what I need to do to be ready to pitch every 5 days. And so there were people in the organization, our strength coach, Gil Heredia, who was a veteran right-hand pitcher. He kind of got in my ear a little bit like, hey, dude, you need to do this, like find what works for you. And so that was a big part of it. And then I hurt my back the very end of the 2000 season. And so I spent that whole winter rehabbing, working out, all that. And that really changed things for me because it gave me that structure and it gave me that routine and it gave me, I don't want to say the work ethic because I kind of already had it, but I didn't have it enough. And so when you hurt your back, and it kind of scared me when that happened because I'm like, oh, wow, am I going to be ready to go? So I did everything I could that off season and really worked my butt off to make sure I was ready for that following season. And then I win 21 games, you know? So it's like to have that reward come from that work, kind of, I can't say put it in perspective, but it was an aha moment for me. Of like, oh, how about that? You work your butt off, and these are the results. That really happens. You know what I'm saying? There's just a little bit of that. You need something. Every athlete has a moment, I think, where your mindset, I think, changes. Any athlete who has success has a moment or two of that just wakes you up, maybe, and makes you go, okay, here's what I need to do. And so that kind of changed things for me. And, you know, I try to instill that with my kids. They don't want to hear it from dad. They're like, yeah, sure, whatever, dad. You know, but I mean, I still try to do my best to talk to them about it and the struggles I went through and things like that. And you just kind of go from there.
So we'll get into the dad portion of it in a second. Looking at the big three again, it reminded me a lot when I was watching it because I was young and I was in high school when you guys were coming up and doing big things. And it reminded me a lot of, you know, Glatt and Smoltz and Maddox, right? That nucleus in Atlanta. Were you three tight? Were you guys feeding off of each other, or how did that work?
For sure. We were all good buddies. You know, Huddy was recently married, just had a daughter. Zito was single, I was single. So and Huddy's wife, Kim, was almost like a big sister to me. You know, it was one of those things where the three of us pushed each other in such a good way. Nobody wanted to be the weak link, you know, because once Zito came up, had success, Huddy came up, had success. I came up, did not have success right away. So that 2001 season, when things were kind of changing for me, it became it wasn't a competition, but yet it was. I think for all three of us, it was that drive. It was that I'm going to be better than these two. You're not speaking that, right, but we all were. That was everybody's mindset. Nobody wanted to be the one who struggled. Nobody wanted to be the one who, if Tim threw a 3-hit shutout, I wanted to throw a 2-hit shutout. It was really that simple. But a lot of people, the three of us were the story, but some of those years having Corey Lytle and Ted Lilly, I don't know I think maybe it was 02, maybe it was 03, I don't remember. But with Corey, we had 4 of the top 10 ERAs in baseball. Right. Like, it wasn't like it was just the three of us, and part of us, a lot of those comparisons to the Braves guys, we didn't really love it because those guys had done way more than we had. And we hadn't found success in the playoffs, nor did we really. Wasn't that we pitched poorly in the playoffs. We lost a lot of close games, and we didn't show up when we did to a certain extent, but we didn't show up enough when we needed to come playoff time. But we also had very young teams, and I realized just how inexperienced and young our A's teams were when I got traded to St. Louis, because the vibe in that clubhouse in 05, my first year in St. Louis, was totally different. With the A's, we went to the division series, and it was like, all right, come on, guys, we can do this. With St. Louis, we went to the division series, and it was, all right, we're going to sweep them, and then we'll move on and see who we got.
An expectation, yeah.
And it was amazing, the difference. And sure enough, I think in 05, we swept the Padres and went on to the 05, it was Houston. Yeah. And we ended up losing. Yeah. But the mindset was so different, but it was because of the experience. It's funny how all of us, and then Huddy went in the World Series in San Fran, we all won World Series. We all found our own success away from the three of us. But those guys are brothers for life, man. We have this group text. It's the three of us with Giambi, Chavez, Isringhausen, Frank Menachino. We're all in this group text, and the things that fly in this group text are hilarious. I tell people the story. A month or so ago, Hudson has a property in Alabama with lakes and hunting stuff, and Frankie went there to fish. Well, Huddy takes some picture from a distance of Frankie holding the fish, and he responds with, "Hey, we found something, or we found something Frankie is bigger than." It's those kind of things. Like, it just never ends. It was just like our clubhouse back in those days. It was kind of a shit show. Right. We were kids. We were all young. We were immature. But we were having a blast. And we didn't have the cell phones, the social media, the cell phone cameras. We didn't have any of that. It was us. Right. We hung out together. We would land in a city after a day game, getaway day. You fly to a new city, and we would have 15 of us with the A's go to dinner. Teams don't do that. Yeah. There was one time in Toronto, I think we played in New York, day game, flew to Toronto. I think there were 19 of the 25 guys on the roster that went to Ruth Chris for dinner. That's how close our team was. And then we made sure the bill got put on a rookie. So it's those kind of things, man. It was just so much fun those years. I've forgotten so many stories that I can't even begin to tell you. But when I get together with those guys, the things they remember, the things I remember that they've forgotten, it's awesome. We just laugh 24/7.
We felt that in the stands, I can tell you that. I know you already know that.
Sure.
You spoke about routine, right? Gil kind of giving you a little bit of advice there. As far as routine, you're dealing with not only the pressure of performing, but personal pressures. You got life going on outside of this, right? It's not just baseball. A lot of us, a lot of fans just project baseball on you guys. That's it. Yeah. It's not, you have life to go through. What were some routines that you instilled to really help you mentally kind of overcome some challenges?
Well, for me, the routine, it kept me sane, I guess you could say. I had the day I pitched, I if I had friends in town, even if my parents were in town, they knew, well, we're not going to breakfast with Mark today. Like, it wasn't that I didn't want to. It was just I couldn't communicate with people the day I pitched. I just needed to be, whether it was me sitting on the couch, whether it was me going to a mall, I don't know, I'm making stuff up, but I just needed, because my mind was on that game. And I know some guys can hang all day with whoever and then go to the field and separate those two things. I just couldn't. So for me, it was just a chill day. I'd sit around, I would do nothing, and then I'd go to the field at 2:30, and that was it. But the days in between your starts is where that routine made me feel prepared for my fifth day. You know, I went to the field at a certain time. I worked out at a certain time. Now some of that can be moved. I was not superstitious. I was routine oriented. If something got changed, if something got messed up, it didn't matter. I'd still get it done. But that's kind of just how I lived my life, you know, and it was, you know, when my career got done, it was still kind of the same way, you know, which drove my wife crazy at times. But it was, and I try to do some of that with my kids, because I'm like, listen, if you have a routine, things are easier. When things are just a mess and you're running here, running there, and you're like a chicken with your head cut off, what good does that do? That just gives you on. You don't need that stress. You don't need all that. So, you know, I'm always kind of looking ahead, which sometimes is a flaw, because I'm not then living in the moment. Sometimes I'm always looking for what I have to do next, rather than enjoying what I'm doing at the moment. So there's a give and take with some of that, I suppose. But for me with baseball, it's just the routine. I had to have it, because if I didn't have it, I wasn't going to feel confident that day on the field. Because every day, those 4 days in between your start, those were my toughest days. The day I pitched, that was my easy day. You know, my lifting days, my running days, my band work, my cuff weights, all that. Those were hard days, because it's so tedious and it takes so much time. But when the game day came, it felt like an off day.
Yeah.
You know?
So for us, our focus is the mental health side. So I've lost too many people in my life to suicide, my mom being included, a couple of partners of mine, and then I was teetering on that as well. And I know you brought up Giambi, you know, and there's a lot of things there that, you know, a lot of guys go through stuff off the field and are connected somehow, some way to mental health. Yeah. What are some tools that maybe you've used or you've seen other guys use to really kind of help dial in that, you know, to deal with some of the stuff that they're trauma or whatever? Along,
you know, Jeremy Giambi committing suicide, Jason's brother. I had two uncles as a child commit suicide. It's kind of tough for me, because in my brother is just out of special forces. He was a pilot in the Army. I know he deals with some stuff, the things he's seen, the things he's done, whatever. For me, it's finding an outlet, finding other passions, finding other things to keep yourself busy. To me, it's the downtime. That's probably the worst, when people probably go through the worst of it. I'm not going to sit here and say I've had it good. I don't feel like I've dealt with a lot of it. But I know plenty of people who have. And when my career ended early because of my injuries, it was a little hard. It was kind of hard to get rid of the clubhouse attitude. You know, I'd find myself just, because in the clubhouse, on the field, it's snarky, it's throwing jabs. It's just what it is. And then all of a sudden, just my career's done. And there were times we'd have friends over, and all of a sudden, just boom, somebody would say something. I tried to be funny, and it would like be almost maybe it'd be a rude comment thrown at my wife. I don't mean anything bad by it. It was just, and she'd like look at me and ha ha, you know. And then after a while, it'd start to get to her, and just things like that. But for me, golf, became that huge outlet for me when my career ended, because I didn't want it to be done, but it was done. And so for me mentally, I needed a outlet to get that competition side of me, that cup filled, however you want to call that. So for golf was huge for me. And my wife was always awesome about it, because I think she knew if I went a week or so, if we had a bunch of stuff going on, and if I go a week or two without playing, she can almost see me getting crabby, annoyed, because it's like, I need to go compete. I competed from age 10. I know that maybe not, but I've competed my whole life. And then here I am, I don't know, 31, and I'm not competing, and I have nothing to compete in. And so I remember I got done and I Googled amateur golf tournaments, because I didn't care how I played. I just wanted to go try to beat people.
Yeah.
It wasn't that I was that good at golf. I just wanted to go compete. I didn't care whether I won or lost. I was going to try to win, but I needed to get that out, and so for me, that was huge personally.
Then you come here and win this.
Yeah, I mean, well, because that's the competitor in me. I played golf a little bit as a kid. I played a little in high school, none in college. Started playing a bunch in the off seasons in Arizona. I was probably a 4 handicap maybe when my career ended. But then all of a sudden your career's done and you start playing every other day. And you don't take that. I would bring my clubs on the road, but I didn't play like Smoltz and some of those guys did. So your game would get crappy again during the season, and then you'd start again that off season and get better. But now all of a sudden my career's done and I'm playing all year. So now my short game's getting better. Now my putting's getting better. Now everything's getting better. And I got into this tournament in 2010 or 11. And, I remember day one, I came here, I'm like, I'm beating all these guys. Day one, I played great. I'm in second or third place. I'm in one of the final groups on day 2. And man, I teed off and I'm trying to tee the ball up and my hand is shaking. And I probably had 6 or 8 points on day 2. Just shot my way right out of it. And I was like, I'd never felt that before. I didn't know any better. I never played competitive golf. So it was one of those, now that becomes a challenge. Okay, how do I handle this? How do I handle something that I feel very uncomfortable doing? But on the other hand, I loved that feeling. I never really had that feeling in baseball because that's what I did. That's what I did my whole life. So I had confidence off the charts on the mound. But on that tee box, there wasn't as much confidence. So now it's like, okay, how do I figure this out? And that became the next challenge, which I loved, and it became, you start preparing for this tournament. I don't prepare for it the way I used to those first 6-7 years because of all the travel and kids stuff that we have, but I still try,
So for you and going forward, for guys that are listening to this, would you view golf as a good form of therapy then?
Oh, yes. Even if you suck, because whether I play good or bad during this tournament, there is a smile on my face. My kids love this tournament. My oldest son is on the bag with me. The memories, I look at it this way, the memories my kids are going to have later in life of this tournament and of our family will be worth every cent to me, and so I don't care if you suck. There is nothing better than being on a golf course with buddies having fun. So that's it.
One last thing to wrap up here. For anybody that's listening and going through something right now and really struggling, even if they don't play golf or anything,
sure,
what would be some advice that you would give to them as far as like just getting the help that they need?
Get outside. I know there's other ways of whether it's talking to people, but it's ask somebody to go for a walk.
Yeah.
Go talk to somebody. Find somebody that whether you're tight with them or not, it might not matter. But go outside, because when you're cooped up, when you're maybe feeling sad, you're feeling lonely, you're doing whatever, just get outside. I mean, there's a reason our earth looks like this,
100%.
And we live in the greatest freaking country in the world, and just go walk somewhere. It doesn't matter where you live. go to a park, find a river. I don't know. Go find something, man, because any of that is better than sitting there thinking of some awful things or dealing. I know people deal with stuff, but it's never as bad as you think.
100%. Thank you so much for your time.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you so much to Travis Mathew as well for hooking us up. And just remember, you're worth it. Go follow us, playinthroughpod.com for any resources, and then also Playin Thru Pod on Instagram as well. Thanks again for your time, man.
You got it.